Okay, Happy Lifer. It's time for me to come clean. I'm going to share with you my New Year's resolutions for 2025. Maybe it'll be an inspiration to you. Maybe not. But my New Year's resolutions for 2025 is to accomplish the New Year's resolutions of 2024, which I was supposed to do in 2023 because I promised them to myself in 2022 and had planned them the year earlier in 2021. Was that an inspiration to you? Anybody else in that category, in that boat there with me? So how are those New Year's resolutions going? Have you already broken half of them? For most of my life, that was me. I would create massive lists of New Year's resolutions in the belief that if I only kept one or two, I would still be ahead in the game of life. But I didn't take into account how crappy it feels to not meet the other 10 or 15 resolutions, so I would eventually abandon all of them by February. This year, I decided to just go ahead and abandon them now, the first week of January, and get it out of the way instead of prolonging it. Welcome to Happy Life Studios, happier holiday style.
I just wanted to wish you a merry, happy Christmas.
We're here to make your holidays happier.
Did you notice that I wanted to wish you a merry, merry, happy Christmas?
And not just a Merry Christmas, but
happy, happy, merry, 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 happy, merry, happy, merry, happy, happy, merry, merry, happy, merry.
Don't forget jolly.
Jolly, jolly, merry, happy,
Happy, happy, merry, happy, merry, merry, holly.
happy, happy, merry, happy Christmas.
Yeah, all those things too, and more. Merry Christmas and happier holidays. What's up, Happy Lifer? Thanks for joining us today. We are so happy that you did. And let me say, Happy Life New Year. We don't just believe in Happy New Year lasting a week. We believe that we can have a happy life that lasts not just all week long or all year long, but lasts all life long. So Happy Life New Year. And say goodbye to our new happier holidays, or should I say Happy Merry Christmas, Holly Jolly Merry Christmas intro. So that's the last that you'll be hearing of it this year. Well, at least until next year's happier holidays. Unless we create a new one by then, you never know. But I am tempted to keep playing it all year long, just to remind us to make Christmas mean something this year. May our Happy New Year be Happy Life New Year. We need to be reminded that the warmth of Christmas, the magic of Christmas, the wonder of Christmas, the spirit of generosity, the family, the cookies, right? The treats, the gatherings, all that stuff, even the uncomfortable moments that we have during Christmas. We need to be reminded to keep that all year long. May that stay with us all year long. Only without all the stress, without all the shopping, without all the parties, that we get over-partied by going to so many. How can that not be a happy life, right? If we keep the spirit of Christmas throughout the year, man, that's what you call a happy life. So Happy Life New Year. We talked about this year how we had to adapt on our Christmas, and there's a lot of things that we did not get done this Christmas. Like we said last episode, our tree went naked this year. It went without the ornaments. It had lights on it. I guess it wasn't completely naked, but it had no ornaments on it. So there was a lot of things that we didn't get done at Christmas. So when New Year's Day rolled around, this is what I did. Because I had so many things to do, I'm like, we're going to take care of it right now. So I drove up north with my wife and son and hung out with the family for the entire day. That's right. That's the way to start out the new year. So many things to do, but we will always have things to do. There's always something there, which is good news. It always gives us something to wake up for the next day. There will always be things to do, but the most important thing to do, in my opinion, is people, is to be with people. is to hang out with people. Even if you're an introvert, there are people in your life that you need. None of us, even the most introverted of ourselves, are not meant to do this thing alone. We need each other. So I wanted to start the New Year's correctly. By speaking to all those things and letting them know all those things that needed to get done, you can just wait. I'm going to do what's important today. And we went up and watched football, watched movies, did puzzles, talked, hung out with the extended family, and just had an amazing day. How's that for New Year's resolutions? So like I said, how are those New Year's resolutions going for you? Have you already broken half of them? And those weren't my words, by the way. Those were a quote that I got from Angela off of goodheartphotographyva.com. I'll leave a link in the show notes if you're going to check out the article. It was pretty good. Those weren't my words, but they are my sentiment. When she said, for most of my life, that was me. I would create massive lists of New Year's resolutions in the belief that if I only kept one or two, I would still be ahead of the game of life. But I didn't take into account how crappy it feels to not meet the other 10 or 15 resolutions. So I would eventually abandon all of them by February. I don't know if you feel that way, but I have felt that way for many years. And that's why I've changed the New Year's resolution to a New Year's theme. We've talked about it over the last several years, and we'll continue to talk about it because I think it's a great way to bring in the new year. I think it's a great way to have a happy life New Year. Instead of New Year's resolutions, have a New Year theme instead. They are quite opposite each other, yet they're both meant to get you to the same spot. We have New Year's resolutions because we want to accomplish goals, because we want to live a better life, because we want to become better people. We want to be the best that we can be. Well, the theme does the exact same thing, but they go about it two different ways. Resolutions are all about to do, but New Year's themes are all about to be. The difference between doing and being, completely different. New Year's resolutions are all about the outcome, but the New Year's theme is all about the process. New Year's resolutions are all external, right? They're things that we have to do. They're external things. But New Year's themes are internal. They're about the inside of us. If you change your inside, the outside will change automatically. And that's why I love themes over resolutions, because I think if you change the inside, the outside will naturally follow. Resolutions are all about actions, but New Year's themes are all about our mindset, our perspective. New Year's resolutions are rigid. New Year's themes are flexible. New Year's resolutions are forced, but New Year's themes are easy. They're simple. If you look up the stats on New Year's resolutions, they're not good, and yet we continue to pound away at them year after year after year. I don't think that's the answer, or we would have figured it out by now. It might be an answer for people, but it's a very small amount of people. I thought somewhere that I read somewhere something along the lines like 8% of people accomplish their New Year's resolutions or last beyond February with the New Year's resolutions. I mean, it's time to change things. If it's not working, then don't change it. If it's not working, then it's time to adapt, like we talked about in last week's episode. And I think we might talk about it more in next week's episode or in the episodes to follow. But the New Year's resolutions, they're a small picture, but New Year's themes are about the bigger picture. Get the theme right, and the actions will follow. So that's why I think that New Year's themes are so much stronger and more successful. If we want to live a happy life, I think that New Year's themes are going to work better than New Year's resolutions. So there is my pitch for the New Year's theme. So what's yours? Like I said in last week's episode, I actually came up with mine during our family's Christmas presents. Presents with the CE, not the TS. Like I said, it was such a beautiful, wonderful, warm Christmas opening our presents. The verbal presents were so much greater than our physical presents, where we just spoke with each other and encouraged each other before we opened up each other's gifts. It was such a cool moment. And that's where I came up with mine, which is really rare for me. Normally, I have to be a few weeks and sometimes even months into the new year before I come up with my own theme for the year. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think as long as we're pursuing a theme, we don't have to come up with it the first week of the new year. We can come up with it down the road because we've already started the year correctly. We're focusing on the kind of people we want to be, the kind of year we want to have. And that's a positive thing. Just because we don't have it in a word or an image or a thought or something like that doesn't mean that we aren't moving forward in the right direction. So don't force yourself on to have to get it right away. But it's rare when I get one this fast. We'll talk about my theme in a little bit, or maybe even in next week's episode. I'm not sure. But before I share that theme, I would like to highlight a few principles of finding your theme. I already mentioned the one. Don't hurry. Don't try to get it right now. Let it come to you naturally. I think that the theme is already inside of you. It's already kind of who you are or who you want to be. It needs to be pulled out. I don't think it needs to be necessarily created. It just needs to be discovered. And if we push to get the theme right away, then oftentimes it's not going to stick. Like a new freshman going into college who's those that are forced to pick their major right away, change their major how many times, right? I think when you go into college, you take generals and you have an idea about majors, but be in college for a while before you figure out what your major is. The same is true with our New Year's themes. Don't force it, or the odds are fairly high, in my opinion, that it's not going to stick. If we say, I've got to get it, it's the third week of January, it's February already, I need to come up with my theme. Let it come to you. And it can be a phrase, it can be a thought, a word, it can just be an image. It can even be like a movie scene that you've seen in some movie or that you've even created in your own mind. But it needs to be purposeful. We've been talking about that lately. If you let it happen, it won't happen. We need to be purposeful. When you do things, when you make decisions this next year, does it line up with your theme? That's about as purposeful as you can get. Because we constantly, everything that we do, especially the major things, but even the small things, whatever we do, we ask, does this line up with my theme for this year? That's purposeful. And I would say set goals that aren't measurable. Like, I want to be more patient this year. How do you measure that? You know if you're more patient, but you can't measure that. I want to be more hopeful. I want to be more happy. I want to be more peaceful this year. You can't measure peace, but why would you even need to? If you're more of it at the end of the year, if you're less negative, who cares that you can't measure that? What matters is that we're moving in the right direction and we're making our lives better, which is the whole point of a New Year's resolution. And lastly, I would say, let your theme apply to your entire life, not just one area. Don't just think about your business. Let the theme also include your free time, your recreation, your family, every area of your life. Let the theme include that. So just to recap real quick, don't be in a hurry to come up with a theme. Be purposeful. Set goals that aren't measurable and let it apply to your whole life. Here are some questions to ask that might help you find your theme this year. This might even be an episode where you pause to write stuff down and then you restart. You might pause this episode several times. But here are some questions to ask yourself. Number 1, what kind of person would you like to be this year? Are there any values that you hold dear or that you've been raised with, that you love, that you aren't necessarily living at the level you would like to? If you could start fresh, if you were just born, if you could create yourself right now, only create yourself at the age that you are, and you could start fresh, what kind of person would you create yourself to be? What kind of values would that person you create have? And then write all these thoughts down. Write down all the ideas, the attributes, anything that comes to your mind, anything and everything that comes to your mind, just write it down. Don't think, just write. And here's some examples that might help you get started in thinking about the kind of person that you would like to be this year. Relaxed, patient, happy, of course. I'm surprised I didn't say that one first. Hopeful, positive, vibrant. I love that word. That was a word that Emma Ward of emma-ward.com came up with in 2023. She wrote a really cool article on her webpage talking about it, and then gave 167 other words as ideas for your theme of the year. I will leave a link in the show notes. But if you search Emma Ward, EMMAWARD, what's your theme, you should find it right away. At least I did. And I searched on like 4 different search engines just to make sure. So what kind of person would you like to be this year, or be more like this year? Second question, what kind of year would you like to experience this year? Or as Angela, again, from Good Heart Photography, VA.com words it, how do you want to feel in the upcoming year? Do you want to feel more relaxed, more chill, more excitable? How do you want to feel in the upcoming year? And again, write down any emotions you would like to experience more of this year. Write down every word, every thought, every phrase, like I said. Don't think, just write. This may take a few moments, a few hours, or even a few days, but don't rush this process. It's a very important concept. The New Year's theme isn't something you just want to rush into, because like I said, if you rush into it, it's just not going to stick for very long. So let it happen. Work this thing. I actually think that thinking on it for a few days is a fantastic idea. While you're driving, while you're cooking, while you're reading, those moments before you go to sleep, walking, take a walk, think about it. Not necessarily thinking about what the exact phrase is going to be or the entire theme will be. Just think of the words and the phrases of the kind of year you want to have, or the kind of feelings that you want to experience this year. And take your notepad or your phone, whatever you're recording these thoughts with. But I would have that notepad with me wherever I go for the next several days. Remember, you have an entire year to live this out, so you can take some time in figuring it out. There's no need to rush in and get a theme that doesn't fit, like a new pair of shoes or a brand new baseball glove. You have to work those things in before they get comfortable, so don't be afraid to break in this theme. So after you have your list of all your words, now you need to start crossing words off instead of adding more. After you've exhausted every thought, every brainstorming moment, all that, after you've exhausted all that, start deleting or crossing off every word that you don't like or that you really aren't feeling now. You might have felt it at the moment, but now when you go back and you read over all your words, this word is better. This image might be better. That one just doesn't feel right. Cross those off. What you're trying to do is find the ones, the words, the thoughts, the images, the phrases that stand out above all the others, and highlight those. Those are the ones that we want to focus on right now. And don't be afraid to use a thesaurus and find other words that might match that word that really stands out to you, that concept that really stands out to you. I do that quite a lot. Using a thesaurus or a dictionary can really help in the situation. And if something still doesn't stand out at this point, phone a friend. Seriously, talk about this with people you trust, people that you're close with. Share with them all your ideas. This is what I'm thinking about doing, and talk it through with them. You'll be surprised how much that will help to allow someone else to be a part of this thing, but not just anybody, people that you really trust. If something doesn't stand out yet, journal it. Write it down. Write your thoughts down. It doesn't have to be a long written thing. It can just be a sentence or a paragraph. Write down what you're thinking. Journaling is a very powerful thing. And if you're a person of faith, pray over it. Ask God to help you. If you're a person of faith, then you believe that God made you, and so he's got a plan for your life. So let him help you figure out the best plan, the best theme for you this year. So if something still has not stood out after you've written everything down, after you've crossed everything off, phone a friend, talk about it, journal it, pray over it. And there's one more. Let us help. I've offered this in years past as well, and I'll offer it again. Let us help you with this. This is something I've been doing for decades now, and I enjoy doing it. And like I said, we've offered this in the past. So email me at podcast@happylife.studio, Or you can leave a voicemail on our Yo Stevo hotline, 425-200-HAYS, 425-200-4297, and let us know you would be interested in at least talking about it. So if you would like some more help, we would be honored to help you with this. It's been something that we've done for a long time, and we will help you discover that theme that is probably already inside of you. And if we can't get it done in one session, I'll give you more sessions until you get it done. And if you're not a creative person, don't worry. I have enough creativity for both of us. I truly believe it will be one of the best $100 investments that you'll make this year. It's normally a $500 value or more, but we would love to help you. We would be honored to help you come up with your New Year's theme. And here's one last thing. If you still have more than one contender here, I like what Angela of Good Heart Photography, what she says you should do. I love this idea. I've done this before many times in my life, just not physically like this. This is such a great idea. She says, write down each remaining contender on its own slip of paper. Fold each one and place it in a bowl. Then mix them all up and pull one of those contenders out. But don't open it yet, because here's the brilliant part. Angela says, quote, you may have a feeling of clarity and a desire for a certain word to be on the slip of paper. Then you can just choose that word and don't even need to open the paper. If you don't have an inner voice telling you what word you want, then read the slip and check in at that moment with how you feel. If you're disappointed, then that's not the right word for you. Pull out the next word and do the same thing until you pull out a word that resonates with you, that you want to work with for a year. So thanks, Angela of GoodHeartPhotographyVA.com. That was good stuff. Now that you have your theme, create around this word. Find things that represent this theme and place them around your life. Sticky notes, screensavers, passwords. Set an alarm on your phone and name the alarm what your theme, what your image, what your New Year's idea, what your New Year's phrase is. Search online for images and print them up. I make a screensaver. And the cool part about this is I can go through my old screensavers and look at what my themes were from the years past. I use Canva a lot, canva.com. They have a free version, and all you have to do is type in your thought, your theme, and all sorts of these professional images will show up that represent that image. And some of those might really stand out for you. And I don't know if it'll work for you as well as it's worked for me, but it's worked for me fantastic in the past. New Year's resolutions never did. Just like Angela said in the beginning, I break half of them by February. And if you do decide to go with the New Year's theme instead of a New Year's resolutions, do whatever works for you. But if you decide to go with a theme instead of a resolution, I would love to know how it's going for you. I would love to know what your word is, what your thought, what your phrase, what your image is. I would love it if you emailed us or called us, like I said, at podcast@HappyLife.studio or 425-200-4297. I would love to talk about a lot of our themes and our podcast. I think it would be very cool. I think it would help other people as well in coming up with theirs. There is no dumb idea. There is no dumb theme. It's who you are. It's who you want to be. And as long as you're moving forward to becoming a better person, that's a win, in my opinion. And that's the point of New Year's resolutions. They just never worked for me, and they just never worked for a lot of people. So it's also the point of the New Year's themes that has worked for me fantastically over the last handful of years.
Make someone happy. Make just someone happy, and you will be happy too.
I hope that helped. Happy Life New Year, Happy Lifer. You're amazing. Remember, we're here to help. Life isn't perfect, but that doesn't mean it can't be happy.
StevoHays.